Morning, everybody. And hello, everybody. Welcome to Cheyenne's audio tapes. Last time on the series here, on Bloodfish and Afterstory, the final battle. James and the squad are now at the farm, and they were facing off a lot of things. First, the mob boss, and then Tank, which was the son, one of the sons of Stinky Roberts. So now we are going to see what's happened next. And it's to be Chapter 16, The Screech Bats Attack. Alright, here we go. After we got back to the farm, we stood up and jumped down from the truck. My son and my wife came out of the farmhouse to hug me. I still have the stink of Tank's goo on my clothing. Ew, Victoria said when she got too close. I have changed my clothes, I said, showing them my dark brown hair with the same goo in it still. Then Mrs. Ardina saw us. Thank goodness, everyone, you're all right. Dinner is almost ready on the way. We nodded. I told everyone to go inside and went straight to the shower. While I was on the shower, I was still thinking of how Tank was able to find us, because my family and his family was still in New York, not New Jersey. But still, as I got out of the shower, I put on my plaid shirt and some overalls that were navy blue. I put on some farm work boots, and then went out downstairs and started eating chicken that was deep fried. My son gulped it all the way down. Back then, my son was about 6 years old. My wife made some fried chicken. He loved it. Still makes a good memory of my life. After we finished dinner, I went out to the field. I pitched hay in the cart. The sun was setting. Sweat was pouring down my face. The cart was almost full. I pulled the cart towards the farmhouse. After a minute there, I was taking the cart to the barn. I started feeding the horses and the cows. Then I heard a high-pitched screech. The cows and horses were starting to freak out due to the noise. I ran outside, got into the house, and yelled, "Screech bats!" Everyone looked up, then ran outside. Gerald and Dishon quickly grabbed their shotguns and started outside. "Everyone get ready," Dishon said. "We'll shoot them down while you guys turn," Gerald said, and started shooting. Some screech bats were killed. We quickly morphed. Then I pounced at one of the bats. My teeth were covered in green blood. Plah! I grunted while I spat out the dead bat. "Oakley, get the machine for the portal now!" Gerald screeched at Oakley and nodded and ran into the house. "James, kill as many as you can, son. Well, I'll contact your family," Dishon said, then running into the house. "Follow me, Oakley." Then I sensed my mother and Haley were on their way. I turned back to my human form. Then I grabbed my old AK-47 2025 edition, the one my dad had given me before he died, saying this was my mother's gun to save Earth back then. Right now, it's 2055. My mother is 45 years old, and my father is 48 years old. Anyway, I started shooting the gun at the bats with lasers. Green blood spewed everywhere. And then I heard my mother's ship rolling in. Weapons running around ready to kill. Then I saw the portal gun that Oakley kept. My mother started shooting, bats exploding. Then Oakley came out of the house. "Mother?" she said. "Don't just stand there, Oakley. Shoot!" Haley's voice came out of the speakers of the ship. Oakley shot at the portal, closing it. And my mother and Haley landed. "Mom!" Oakley yelled, then running to Haley and then hugged her. "Thank God I left that gun for you. Otherwise, you would have been toast," Haley said while smiling, hugging her daughter. "At least we're all safe, at least now." My mother said, "Yeah, but this happened once again. I mean, when we were younger, and I had to close the portal last time, I was training with everyone else," I said. "Yeah, I remember that. I don't know why it opened up again." Maybe it's someone that killed DJ, but no, that can't be. How is it possible? Those robot kids weren't the only ordinary robots. They were cyborg children. And I know a man that knew how to build robots. Dr. Red-Eye. Is he still alive? Haley said, wondering. No, I killed him. Brain everything to mush. But they attacked us as well before they killed Dad. But now I know where they are. There's some kind of difficult to find on that one particular steel mill in this state. Mother said, and Haley nodded. Well, if you ask around here in this place, you might find it. Don't worry, son. I know you'll find it. Good luck. My mother said. They both walked to the house. Hey, Gerald. Dishon, it's been a long time. Getting a little gray there, aren't we? Hey, where's Jessica? My mother asked, and smiled. Dishon smiled. Yeah, I know. And Jess is in the other town. Oh, is your brother okay? And the war? He asked. It's all over. We beat the evil that brought us all together. And I'm really happy to meet all of you guys. And I still cherish it forever and always. My mother said. Anyway, we gotta go back to class together and mix up another potion. Luckily, we don't mess up this time. Last time, Haley was a little purplish. My mother said, giggling. Hey! Haley said with a defensive tone. Gerald and Dishon chuckled. All of them smiled. Last time I saw that was when, right before my mother and Haley went to college, and Earth was saved. And Amy was a wife to Darrell, and Dad was alive also. Well, I guess we could stay here for a while. I mean, potions are like, 4 p.m.? I guess I can tan for a little while. Haley said. Myself, my mother, my crew, even Haley smiled. Like I said, came here for a reason. I said with a shrieking grin. Beach time! We shouted and ran off to the pod, and drove off to the beach to go there and relax. Chapter 17. Relaxing time on the beach until, as we parked the ship and got off the swimming gear, then my son, my wife, and the rest of the squad hit the water. Derek and Oakley were in the water, and they were splashing and pushing each other into each other. Hey, Dad, let's have a race. Whoever gets to the edge over there is the winner, Edmund said to me. I smiled. They ran over to the water, and my son followed. My mother and Haley were laying on some beach chairs, laying down in the sun. They chuckled. Like the old days, huh? Haley said. My mother nodded. It's just like they were little. They grew up so fast. My mother said, smiling. I was swimming, and I was in first place, and my son was in second place. Then in the middle of the day, my mother got a call from Jiraki. Hello, Jiraki. It's been a while. What? Not again. Thanks for the warning. My mother said, then nodded to Haley, then looked up the sky. How much time do we have? She asked. About 50 seconds. My mother said, with worry. My mother her stood up and screamed, Solar eclipse, get out of there! They shouted. I almost made it to the finish area, but then I looked back and up to saw my family, and then I yelled to my son, Edmund, get back to the shore, now! My son looked up, nodded. I saw the sun was being completely blocked by the moon. My son and I got back to the shore just in time when the moon was completely blocking the sun. My veins were showed. They were completely black. My voice was distorted, and I fell into the sand. My abs were showing even more than before. My mother was screaming in pain. She was heaving and panting. So was Haley. Their abs were showing. Fur and teeth formed out of their bodies. Gerald Dishon looked at us in horror, but we were turning into a werewolf by force. This time, our skin ripped off. It pulled out my skin off me. My muscle formed on my face. With the human skin, my eyes were glowing. red. So did my mother and Haley, Oakley, and Hunter, and Amy were transforming too. Haley and my mother were still in shock when they were still in pain, slowly turning into the beast of Aurora, in their primal state before Orions were human, as their skin ripped off because the beast was transforming them by force. The beast's transformation was complete on me, Hunter, Oakley, and my sister. But my mother and Haley were almost complete, but were still in pain. This is like last time, my mother said in a distorted voice, while her wolf was halfway out. So was Haley's. Haley pulled off the rest of her skin. Her wolf was all white, with muscles all buff and very strong. Her eyes were very blue, with a green glow. My mother had a silver fuller on top and white on the bottom, her wolf form, and her eyes were green with a blue glow all around them. My wolf was all brown fur and red eyes that glowed like fire. Hunter had gray and black stripes on its back. His eyes were gray with a blue glow. Oakley was white fur, and her eyes were green-yellow with a red glow. Amy had her fur was black and silver eyes with golden glow around them. But then we all howled at the eclipse, with deep breaths and grunting. Well, at it. My mother, Haley, Hunter, and Oakley, even Amy and I, ran out of the beach. People were screaming when we were running towards the city. My mother, Haley, Oakley, Hunter, Amy, and I were going through around rampant. Police were about to shoot us, but then realized Gerald, Jessica, and Dishon were the former Wolf Squad members were following us, with Rory along with my crew were running after us. They stopped to let us through and followed us in the warehouse. The sun started to peek out of the solar eclipse. Then my wolfskin fur started to fall off. My pelt fell off of me, and the same did to my mother, Haley, Oakley, Hunter, and Amy. Our bones popped and cracked as they were turning back to human skeleton. Just imagine your bones breaking and then mending themselves back together in human. But now the transformation of the werewolf hurts the same, but in reverse, as your human bones turn into wolf. I mean, it hurts, but you'll get used to it. Well, back to the story. As we were turning back to ourselves, our teeth were falling out of our mouths and started getting human regular teeth coming out. Our muzzle retracted a human skull. I grunted as my eyes were turning back from red to green. Oakley's eyes from yellow to green hazel. Hunter's eyes to gray to brown. We were all back to normal. The only thing we had on was our swimming gear, but it was just still a little ripped. Haley grunted. We all looked at each other with a smile. Well, we did it. We're normal again, my mother said. At least it didn't last long this time, I said with a grin. We all nodded in agreement. Then my wife and the rest of my crew came in the warehouse. You guys alright? Gerald asked as he helped my mother and Haley. And Oakley and Hunter stood up. Yeah, it hurts. Turning into an animal takes really a toll on you, Haley said, then holding her right hand over on her head. Well, now we head back to the farm. Oakley can show us a new invention that was she just made for us to show her mom and Garbrew, Dishon said. Everyone they went back to the pod, went back to the farm and tried to relax and try to do something for fun with some new invention that Oakley made for everyone, for everyone to show. But it's not quite what you expected. Chapter 18, An Accidental Switcheroo. Well, here it is. The Colton Teleportation Mark Device MK1. Oakley said with a smile. Haley walked over to her daughter and gave her a hug. Well done, sweetheart, she said with a tear rolling down her eye. Oakley had tears rolling down hers also. Well, let's see how this baby works, my mother said. Oakley picked up the device, hoping we were able to find something to teleport. She had other things in mind, She looked at me when she saw me. I was talking to one of the soldiers, telling them what to do about the situation about the robot kids of Dr. Red. "Hey, James," she asked. I looked up on the clipboard while signing papers for a weapon that just came in. "Huh?" I said, then giving the clipboard to the soldier and ran off to the commanding officer. "Think fast!" she exclaimed, then shooting a blast of green energy. "Hey!" I shouted before he disappeared. Everyone was in shock as I went somewhere else. Then Oakley said, "Look out below," so calm that she knew what was going to happen. "Ah!" I screamed and landing on the floor. I was in a lot of pain. I felt like my ribs were bruised and were in a lot of pain. I slowly got up. "Oakley!" I grumbled. I walked over to her, snatched the machine. The Oakley snatched it back. It was like a tug of war with children or a dog at this point. "Give it back!" she shouted. "No, you have way too much power over this thing," I said. Haley just looked at all of us. We were fighting. We haven't fought like this for years. But that was when my mother and she was training us for up for the Neo-Quentin squad. But that was when we were 11. Then Haley and my mother said enough was enough. I tried to take it away. But then the machine sparked. It started to glow green and blast us with its green waves. But instead of delivering us, it decided to switch our bodies instead. Then it broke. My mother's personality went to Haley's, and my personality went to Oakley's. And the same did to Oakley and Haley, but with our bodies. "Is everyone okay?" I said in Oakley's body. "I don't know. I feel weird." My mother said Haley's body. My mother glanced over to see herself. "Oh, not again," she said. "Again? What? What's the matter?" Haley said in her mother's body. "Just look," my mother said. Haley looked at her body. Then she just about fainted when she saw her own body. We switched bodies again. I hate this, especially when we were at the college," she said, with a unjoyful tone. "Well, how are we going to get us back to our normal selves?" my mother asked. "I think I can fix it, but if Oakley and I fix it, we can try to turn us back normal," Haley said. "I just hope your knowledge and skills went into my body now as well, Haley." My mother said in Oakley's body, her body. We all laughed. "We better get to work, Mom," Oakley said in my body. While Haley and Oakley were still on work, me and my mother just sitting around in the bar area in Haley and Oakley's body. "Well, hopefully there's no emissions today," my mother said. The alert of crime went off. "Crap," I said, looked over my mother and Haley. And my mother, Haley and Oakley, and everyone nodded. Haley said, in my mom's body, "Go. We'll fix this thing. We'll be here waiting." I ran outside and saw bugs flying around across New York. My mother ran out and then said, "These things are from Bug Galaxy." "This is not good," she said. "Grab some guns," she ordered. I grabbed my assault rifle with the automatic barrel. I started aiming at the bugs and started shooting the bugs. Blood splattered all over from the blood bugs. I shot them down, now only 27% remaining of the bugs that left on Earth. Then more of them came out of the sky. The rest of the crew came out, started shooting. And Darrell and his men came over and started to shoot as well. The bug infestation was now gone. I looked over and saw a horrifying sight. My mother's old friend Sapphire was laying down dead. Then I was very pissed off, very angry. Oakley's skins tore apart as I was turning into her wolf that was one of those eclipse. I started to kill all the bugs that were still left. The rest of the ugly things ran off back into space. Then Oakley turned back to herself. The bugs were still in Oakley's mouth. I smiled. Then Haley Oakley came out of the lab. "It's ready." Everyone and myself walked back to the lab. We touched the portal gun. She said to break once again. We were transferred back into our own bodies. Thank God. Well, I better throw this thing away now, Oakley said. You're okay, Oakley. The machine was great, but I think it needs a little work on, hon. Haley said, hugging her child. Oakley smiled. Then I started to walk back to the lab. I went to my office. I noticed the email from Dr. Jiraki and Kino telling me to go to lab with a serious problem. Our secret weapon. A teen boy was not an adult. Was out of control in his werewolf form. So I ran to lab, and this is what I saw. Chapter 19. The Rogue Werewolf. As I got to the testing lab tube area, I saw a broken glass on the ground. Sitting underneath the tube was Jiraki. And tending to his wound was Kino. Dad, hold still, please. I don't want you to die on me. Kino said, pointing gauze at his father's deep scratches, wound on his stomach. Jiraki, what happened? I asked. That boy, he got out of control. I knew I shouldn't have done this project. Jiraki said, holding his stomach. I'll stop him. What's his name? I asked. His name is Justin Render. One of the alphas that graduated 13 years ago. We were supposed to test and make sure he was stable, but I guess I was wrong. Jiraki said, holding his stomach even tighter. I walked out of the room, ran outside. Everyone else took a deep breath. One of the Academy members that became the alpha of New York's pack, New York Wolf Squad, is out of control and is now somewhere in the wild. His name is Justin Render. I said. Everyone's mouth was wide open. Then, in shock, a soldier came in and gave me a tablet and said, We found him. We've been tracking him. The soldier said. I nodded. I told everyone the coordinates, the location, to our watches. They looked at them. Then, we went on our bikes. I grabbed my helmet and biker jacket, and then we turned our bikes on and drove off in the right direction. We were very close to the coordinates. It was about an hour away. It was moving fast, but stopped. We rode it further than the coordinates stayed. My crew and I parked our bikes near the forest, which the coordinates were the same. I told my crew to stay here while I looked around. When it started to beat faster and faster. Now I was in the forest and went crazy. I looked down and saw a piece of his skin right there. Underneath the bloody piece of skin was a tracking device. Then we heard an eerie howl. I knew it was the guy. I followed it. Then I ran to the crew. Guys, get over here, I ordered. Everyone ran to me. And then they saw the bloody and gory mess. Then Derek went over to the next bush and threw up. Then I heard a crack of a stick. We looked over where it was sounding. There was glowing yellow eyes that started to growl. Get out of here, I shouted. They ran back to our bike. The beast ran after us. I saw a little trap while I was in the forest that the crew had made. I ran to the others out. Then Ryan and Dylan Price Jr. were still outside the trees. Now, Oakley shouted. They pulled up the net. The werewolf form of Justin Render went into the net and got stuck. Oakley grabbed the reverse shot, and injected into his body. Ugh. I heard him scream. His werewolf form was turning back to his human self. Sir, I'm sorry, he said, tears coming down his face. It's all right, soldier. I'm going to help you try to get that thing under control, all right? I smiled. He smiled back. We were heading back to lab, Justin in tow. As we made to lab, and Kino and Jiraki were waiting outside. Is he all right? Jiraki asked. I guess, but we need to get that thing, his wolf, under control. More tests, but he's sorry about what happened. I said. I'll get you back to the lab. We gotta make sure you're stable when we walk. They walked in, and they went to the test room. They started testing his blood, and it was all stable, but I was glad to see one of the member of the second pack was okay. Thank God for that. But hopefully I was able to find the robot kids soon. But then they were struck when one of the soldiers came in and said, "Scouts found them. They're in the nuclear plant where your pirates got their powers." He said, shouted while sweating. I nodded. We hit the jackpot. We finally know where they are. Time to take the revenge on people they have killed. Like Sapphire and my dad. Now it's time to fight. The last villains of Earth. Chapter 20. The Final Battle. We headed after the robot kids, the son and daughter of Dr. Red-Eye. As we made it to the nuclear power plant, we parked and went to some bushes and dropped the bikes off. Then we sneaked to the power plant. We saw them, the robotic people. Well, this is it. Time to face off the robotic children. I peeked around the corner, see this charging stand next to them. They were in positions as they were charging themselves. So I decided to take a little revenge and snuck over to the charging port and unplugged them. Their battery life was still on 14%. I grinned. I snuck back into the place where everyone was. Then I appeared before them. They opened their eyes. They saw me and my crew. The man said, "We were expecting you, James." The man said, "My name is Gregory, and this is my sister Samantha." He said, pointing to his sister, "Hello, James. I'm sorry for your father, but he was just got in the way. We were trying to get your mother," she said while laughing. Anger boiled inside me, and I screeched, "You're dead for saying that, my father." Saying that. My father was a great man. He will be ever known as a hero of Earth and the most remembered for life, I said, while crying. I turned to my wolf, which was primal. My skin fell off, and my brown fur merged in red eyes and orange glow. The muzzle grew out of my skull. The skin on my face fell off as my muzzle grew out. Claws grew out of my hands. Feet and turned into a two-legged creature. I roared after my transformation complete. It was about 20 minutes after I unplugged their little charging. Now their battery percentage was at 9%. They didn't know about that. Then they started to attack. Gregory started using a built-in machine gun in his arm. And the girl's arms grew blades out of her hands, and feet looked like skates that used for ice skating. And started to skate her way towards me. I jumped onto the wall and dashed around the attack. And I stopped because when I was running on the wall, I saw that they only had 1% left battery life. And the boat stopped running to me, and I stopped skating, stopped her blade. I was about to slice up right to my neck. "What did you do?" she screeched. "Just got in the way. So did your father, too. Say hello to him in hell." I said, mocking her last conversation. They ripped her arms off. Sparks flew everywhere. I took her head into my wolf mouth and ripped it off her body. I threw off the head, and the metallic clanging noise as her head stopped right in front of her brother's feet. Her lights in her eyes went off. Greg looked at the ground, but couldn't move. "You'll pay for this," he screeched as I turned back to myself. I pulled out of my hands and formed fireballs, and I smiled and said with a mocking tone, "Let's just say you're in the way also," I said, then blasting him with fire. His fake skin melted off. Some circuits popped and cracked and snapped. His whole body melted and deformed. And then he was no more. I walked outside the nuclear plant, and the fire department was there. "Fire's inside, boys. Go get them." The firefighters ran into the blaze. My crew and I walked out of the plant. My wife was waiting for me, and my 14-year-old son was also there. "It's over. We're safe," I said. My face had fire soot, and my hair was all specked up, and my business suit was all ripped. We passionately kissed, and my son wanted to crawl away, but he was proud of that day. He still remembers me to this day. But me and my crew want to retire for life. The second pack will be trained for the Wolf Squad patrol, and the new squad members for Earth. I even thought about it. I only wanted to be only human, but come to think of it, I guess it was okay to be a wolf a little bit. After all, I'm a half Roy half human after all. So after a long decision, I kept my wolf form. I'm going to protect my family and my crew forever. I hope you enjoyed this family legacy. And I hope you enjoy these logs that my mother and me for about 45 years now. This might be a goodbye, but I'll always remember each and every one of you. So I'll be on Aurora for a little while, when my son gets to see his grandfather and my mother. So they'll be able to meet each other and get to know his great-grandfather and my grandfather. So I hope we'll find only one day his family time. So I'll have a normal job, hang out with some friends since we were little. So this is goodbye. So thanks and goodbye. The end. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Now the whole series is come to a close, but don't worry, there's a new series coming out for a new book series, Wild Bloods. I just got that a couple weeks ago. I will probably make an origin vlog for the series of this Blood Fusion series. How it became and how it was real. Probably bring a friend over and tell the story of how it became. Stuff like that. So, hope you guys enjoy your day, week, special things and stuff. The reason why I sound so nasally and groggy right now is because, well, I had a chest cold for a couple days, and it's just gotten over with. So I feel like I have a frog in my throat, but that's what it sounds like right now because it's still froggy in my throat. But that's it. Hope you guys are doing okay. Thank you guys so much. Love you guys, and thanks for supporting the channel. My new book is coming out, so stay tuned for that. And enjoy your week, weekend, and stuff. Love you guys. See you guys. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching the video. If you'd like more, leave down in the description in the comments what you think about it. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I really appreciate it a ton. And I hope you'll be able to see us all in another brand new episode of both either book or a vlog. So, yeah. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.